All right. So this is described as this is a plot, right? So this was page 8 to 9. So this whole sequence was described, and this is the first page of the sequence. So it said, wide shot of Times Square, high up, a video news sign in the foreground. Far below, Matt is making his way back to Hell's Kitchen. The video news sign reports on another sinkhole disaster in another rough neighborhood, somewhere else in the world. But again, good news is that helpful corporations are coming to the rescue. More villain X villainy natch. So villain X is the villain. I'm not telling you who's behind all this yet.
Mhm.
So then a two shot of Matt and Jack, right? So Jack's the persona he's taken upon himself, split
Right.
between them to give Matt a chance to relate the situation he finds himself in and is struggling with. Jack is a necessity, but Matt is his reality. It's what draws him back home to Hell's Kitchen for periodic visits on the down low. This straight on shot splits grandstanding Jack on one side, Matt and his trademark shades and blind man's cane on the other. And then Matt finds himself in front of Fogswell's gym, the old center of his dad's boxing universe. Matt with his head tilted to the side, and you can see that at the top of the right hand. Tid tilted one side, his hypersenses taking everything in and replaying the sensations of a scene from long ago. So then flashback, which starts where you see young Matt Murdock peeking around the corner, right?
Mhm.
Inside the gym from when Matt was a boy. A wide shot, sweaty boxers going at it. Battling Jack Murdock is into it with the gym manager. They're into a bit of small talk. Thought I saw your kid in here earlier. Jack counters, no, Matt isn't a fighter. He knows better. He's always at the books, that one. It's going to be his mind that takes him out of this hell. Except we see a young 10-year-old blind Matt hiding around the corner in the locker room, sense dropping on his dad. Jack has forbidden Matt from learning how to fight, but this man is his father, the center of his universe, and Matt is intent on learning from him however he can. The manager and Jack Murdock in an argument, which you can sort of see picking up on the third panel there, right?
Mhm.
The manager wants Battling Jack to spend some time teaching younger, better boxers. Battling Jack is adamant he wants time in the ring, pointing at a Battling Jack Murdock fight poster. But the manager is brutally honest, and you see that sort of in the fourth panel.
Mhm.
There's no matches for you. I'm trying to help swing you some extra cash with this. A realistic, if chagrin, Battling Jack agrees, shoulders slumping. Battling Jack in the ring, squaring off with a feisty young fighter. So that's like panel 5, right? The older Murdoch coaching the young talent on the right stance. Young Matt's radar vision of Battling Jack and the younger fighter taking position, which is the 6th panel, which hasn't been treated with that yet.
Mhm.
And then young Matt is adopting the same boxer stance, emulating his dad's lessons. And you see that in the next panel over. And that ends the flashback, and then it goes from there. Hell's Kitchen, current day. On Matt, his flashback has him taking up the same boxing stance as from his childhood memory, causing other passerby on the street to cut a wide berth around the weirdo. Close on Matt as he recognizes, no matter the current status of his screwed up life, he's still got to, quote unquote, fight for what matters. So you can see this is exactly what I think is in this description, but the choices are made in a much different way, right? He's changed certain things, he's sequentially moved some things around, all in a fine way,
Mhm.
and the flow of it is introduced certain things to me, which either inspired me or freed me up to write the captions and the dialogue itself in a different way. I mean, I wrote those lines, here, no, Matt isn't a fighter. He knows better. He's always in the books, that one. It's going to be his mind that takes him out of this hell. In my mind, that was going to be the line that older Jack Murdoch says to the gym manager there, right? But
Mhm.
it 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 wouldn't fit in the way the panels are, which is fine. Um, and the way the sequence kind of played out ultimately once I saw it, the dialogue gets to the same point, but in a different and better way, ultimately for what it is. Um,
And do you want to go on to the Electro one as well?
sure. I mean, that's the last page of the sequence. This was page 8 to 9. This was page 10. So now we're exterior Hell's Kitchen rooftop night. So you're seeing that at the top on the right hand page. Daredevil perches using his senses to reach out and check in on people from his prior life. In his internal monologue, Matt considers what is missing from his life by chance or choice. So he's looking in on Karen Page's apartment window. She's in sweats, working the phone, juggling research papers as part of the anti-porn crusade she's marshaling, which was at this time in this timeline, which is what she was doing 20 years ago when I was writing her. So
Right.
Dee Dee's radar impression of the same as he takes in what he can, reminded of their time together and what they meant to each other. And then it goes from there to a wide shot of Electra's penthouse apartment, a wide balcony where she is self-training with grace and deadly efficiency. And then Dee Dee's radar impression of the same as Electra comes to a sudden stop in her motion, sensing something. Her sigh is up at the ready. Matt's VO voiceover captions take a certain pride in being able to check in on the ninja without her completely knowing. So you're going to see something, though, that Netho did in panel 2 and panel 3, 4, 5, and 5. He's actually got Daredevil not like sensing this from across the rooftops, which is what I had thought in my head and intended. He's actually got Daredevil sort of like lurking just outside the window, which, you know, if I was a real prick about it or something, I could say, well, that's not what I wrote. That's not what I wrote. You know, it's got to be just this way. But, you know, what it ultimately ended up saying to me, you know, was, hey, it looks good. You know, I don't have a problem with it. He made a different choice, or maybe he understood it differently. Whatever the case, it allowed me then to introduce a line or two where Murdoch Daredevil says in his internal monologue, I don't have to be this close, but I want to be. Right. You know, I could sense these people from across the way, you know, maybe from halfway across the city, whatever. I could smell their perfume or feel their warmth or do all these things that his hypersenses allows him to do. But because he's there, then I got to introduce that line. I want to be this close. Right. These are the people I miss and desire and so forth, which actually made it much more interesting and emotionally intense, if you will, by looking at it that way and then writing it that way, as opposed to, look, I'm Daredevil, I'm across the rooftop, I can pick up on everything and just, you know that she's moving and she's there and Karen's in her apartment and all that kind of stuff.